Welcome back, guys. Hello and good evening. I hope you joined me earlier for our nightly Bible verse, and I hope you enjoyed that. I did also do just a camera tapping short, and then a short where we tapped and scratched on this beautiful glass that I have. So I hope you enjoyed. And I had the candle lit so I could do those shorts, and I kind of turned everything back on so we could go through our normal walk with me, talk with me, light the candle, and walk over to reading corner. I haven't done that with you guys in a while, so. And also, this candle burned out so crazy fast it started dripping out of these holes. That is why it is meant for a tea light, not for an enormous. It burned out so fast. That candle was up to here. I can't believe how fast it burned. Anyway, so let's light our candle and turn out the lights and get ready and go over to reading corner. So how was your Tuesday? I hope it was wonderful. I hope anything that needed to be done got done. I hope you had time for rest. And I hope that you are ready to relax with me now for some more Matilda and where the sidewalk ends. So our candle is lit. And come on, guys. Let's turn out our lights. Are your lights out yet? Have you got your fluffiest pillows and blankets? If you don't, get them now, because it is time for a cozy, comfy reading corner. It's been such a long time since I've walked with you guys to turn out these lights. I love doing that. I think it's such a nice precursor to having a story read to you, kind of a little, the habit of getting cozy, turning out your lights, collecting your soft, fluffy, comfortable things, and getting ready to, I love that. When that light goes out, man, it lets me know it is time to read a story and relax. And when my kids were younger, and I still have young grandkids I can do this with sometimes, but I used to love getting them ready, get out of the bath, and say hi to our cherry blossoms. Hello. Our beautiful cherry blossoms next to our cozy chair. But yeah, I used to love getting them in the bath, fresh and clean, cozy, picking out a favorite blanket, a favorite pillow. And then we would sit down, just like I'm doing with you now, normally in their bedroom or wherever they were cozied up for the night. And I would say, just like I'm saying to you, okay, are you cozy? Good. Are all your lights out? They are? Good. All right. Are you ready for me to start? You are? Okay. It's so nice. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to a sip of ginger ale. And we're ready to go. Okay. Oh, I have one light that's still on, actually. Sorry, this will drive me crazy if our porch light is on. So let's turn that off. There we go. Okay. Now we are ready. Pardon me, I'm sorry about that. Oh, don't look at my table over there. It's a mess. It is a mess. Okay. I'm glad you guys are cozied up. Now I am too. And here we go. Let's get right into the next chapter of Matilda. I'm so enjoying reading this with you guys. And I do think we'll do Wayside Stories, or Sideways Stories from Wayside School next, but we have a curriculum night at junior high tomorrow, so I think that after that we are going to stop by the bookstore. My son is really into a particular series right now. Well, he's read bits and pieces of friends' books and things, but he really wants to start a particular series, so we were going to go get him the first book in that series, and I was going to look for the next book in the Wrinkle of Time series to see if I could find that, and look around for some others that you might be interested. So when we go to do the next book, maybe I'll put it up to a vote on the channel. I haven't done anything like that yet. We're still a very small channel, but if anybody has any input, I'm always up for input. Just let me know. Alright, guys. So, we left it at and I thought we were going to get into the whole newt in the water pitcher, but we didn't. This chapter was the weekly test, and it kind of just, there's Lavender putting that newt in the water pitcher. The Trunchbull is in their classroom, and pretty much this chapter was just about witnessing the horror that is this woman terrorizing these small children, both emotionally, physically. It's actually, it's a fictional story, obviously, but my goodness, just the things that she did in this chapter were reprehensible. But she's a reprehensible person. It seems that this character is. So she is still in the classroom. And at the end of this chapter, it was hilarious. Matilda, she was asking, Matilda, what did she say? Do you take me for a fool, child? And Matilda just kind of refused to answer. She just kept saying, well. She wanted to say, yes, I jolly well do. But she just kept saying, well, over and over. The Trunchbull, of course, didn't like that. Then mentions how her father, Mr. Wormwood, ripped her off on a car, and that she would keep her eye on her. But she's still in the classroom. Nothing has happened with the water pitcher yet. I'm assuming that the first miracle will be that. I think it's been a long time since I've actually read the book. The movie I've seen very recently. I just watched it again the other day with some of the kids, and it's a favorite of ours. No matter how old the kids get, Matilda is still a favorite. Okay. The first miracle. Matilda sat down again at her desk. The Trunchbull seated herself behind the teacher's table. It was the first time she had sat down during the lesson. Then she reached out a hand, here it is, and took hold of her water jug. Still holding the jug by the handle, but not lifting it yet, she said, I have never been able to understand why small children are so disgusting. They are the bane of my life. They are like insects. They should be got rid of as early as possible. We get rid of flies with fly spray and by hanging up fly paper. I have often thought of inventing a spray for getting rid of small children. How splendid it would be to walk into this classroom with a gigantic spray gun in my hands and start pumping it. Or better still, some huge strips of sticky paper. I would hang them all around the school, and you'd all get stuck to them, and that would be the end of it. Wouldn't that be a good idea, Miss Honey? If it's meant to be a joke, headmistress, I don't think it's a very funny one, Miss Honey said from the back of the class. You wouldn't, would you, Miss Honey? The Trunchbull said, and it's not meant to be a joke. My idea of a perfect school, Miss Honey, is one that has no children in it at all. One of these days I shall start up a school like that. I think it will be very successful. The woman's mad, Miss Honey was telling herself. She's round the twist. She's the one that ought to be got rid of. The Trunchbull now lifted the large blue porcelain water jug and poured some of the water into her glass, and suddenly, with the water, out came the long, slimy newt straight into the glass. Plop. The Trunchbull let out a yell and leapt off her chair as though a firecracker had gone off underneath her. And now the children also saw the long, thin, slimy, yellow-bellied, lizard-like creature twisting and turning in the glass, and they squirmed and jumped about as well, shouting, "What is it? Oh, it's disgusting. It's a snake. It's a baby crocodile. It's an alligator." "Look out, Miss Trunchbull," cried Lavender. "I'll bet it bites." The Trunchbull, this mighty female giant, stood there in her green breeches quivering like a blank mange. Some of these words, and of course he is English, some of these words I just don't know. A blank mange. They're obviously they're slang and dialect. Some words in general are very different than ours here in the United States. Quivering, so I'll just do my best. If you will indulge me, I will do my best. Blank mange. She was especially furious that someone had succeeded in making her jump and yell like that because she prided herself on her toughness. She stared at the creature twisting and wriggling in the glass. Curiously enough, she had never seen a newt before. Natural history was not her strong point. She hadn't the faintest idea what this thing was. It certainly looked extremely unpleasant. Slowly she sat down again in her chair. She looked at this moment more terrifying than ever before. The fires of fury and hatred were smoldering in her small black eyes. "Matilda," she barked, "stand up." "Who, me?" Matilda said. "What have I done?" "Stand up, you disgusting little cockroach." "I haven't done anything, Miss Trunchbull. Honestly, I haven't. I've never seen that slimy thing before." "Stand up at once, you filthy little maggot." Reluctantly, Matilda got to her feet. She was in the second row. Lavender was in the row behind her, feeling a bit guilty. She hadn't intended to get her friend into trouble. On the other hand, she was certainly not about to own up. "You are a vile, repulsive, repellent, malicious little brute," the Trunchbull was shouting. "You are not fit to be in this school. You ought to be behind bars. That's where you ought to be. I shall have you drummed out of this establishment in utter disgrace. I shall have the prefects chase you down the corridor and out the front door with hockey sticks. I shall have the staff escort you home under armed guard, and then I shall make absolutely sure you are sent to a reformatory for delinquent girls for the minimum of 40 years. The Trunchbull was in such a rage that her face had taken on a boiled color, and little flecks of froth were gathering at the corners of her mouth. But she was not the only one who was losing her cool. Matilda was also beginning to see red. She didn't in the least mind being accused of having done something that she had actually done. She could see the justice of that. It was, however, a totally new experience for her to be accused of a crime that she definitely had not committed. She had absolutely nothing to do with that beastly creature in the glass. By golly, she thought, that rotten Trunchbull isn't going to pin this one on me. I did not do it, she screamed. Oh, yes, you did, the Trunchbull roared back. Nobody else could have thought up a trick like that. Your father was right to warn me about you. The woman seemed to have lost control of herself completely. She was ranting like a maniac. You are finished in this school, young lady, she shouted. You are finished everywhere. I shall personally see to it that you are put away in a place where not even the crows can land their droppings on you. You will probably never see the light of day again. I'm telling you, I did not do it, Matilda screamed. I've never seen a creature like that in my life. You have put a crocodile in my drinking water, the Trunchbull yelled back. There is no worse crime in the world against a headmistress. What's an oddly specific worst crime? Now sit down and don't say a word. Go on, sit down at once. But I'm telling you, Matilda shouted, refusing to sit down. I am telling you to shut up, the Trunchbull roared. If you don't shut up at once and sit down, I shall remove my belt and let you have it with the end that has the buckle. Slowly, Matilda sat down. Oh, the rottenness of it all, the unfairness. How dare they expel her for something she hadn't done? Matilda felt herself getting angrier and angrier and angrier, so unbearably angry that something was bound to explode inside of her very soon. The newt was still squirming in the tall glass of water. It looked horribly uncomfortable. The glass was not big enough for it. Matilda glared at the Trunchbull. How she hated her. She glared at the glass with the newt in it. She longed to march up and grab the glass and tip the contents, newt and all over the Trunchbull's head. She trembled to think what the Trunchbull would do to her if she did that. The Trunchbull was sitting behind the teacher's table, staring with a mixture of horror and fascination at the newt wriggling in the glass. Matilda's eyes were also riveted on the glass. And now, quite slowly, there began to creep over Matilda a most extraordinary and peculiar feeling. The feeling was mostly in the eyes. A kind of electricity seemed to be gathering inside of them. A sense of power was brewing in those eyes of hers. A feeling of great strength was settling itself deep inside her eyes. But there was also another feeling, which was something else altogether, and which she could not understand. It was like flashes of lightning. Little waves of lightning seemed to be flashing out of her eyes. Her eyeballs were beginning to get hot, as though vast energy was building up somewhere inside of them. It was an amazing sensation. She kept her eyes steadily on the glass, and now the power was concentrating itself in one small part of each eye and growing stronger and stronger, and it felt as though millions of tiny little invisible arms with hands on them were shooting out of her eyes towards the glass that she was staring at. Tip it, Matilda whispered. Tip it over. She saw the glass wobble, It actually tilted backwards a fraction of an inch, then righted itself again. She kept pushing at it with all those millions of invisible little arms and hands that were reaching out from her eyes, feeling the power that was flashing straight from the two little black dots in the very centers of her eyeballs. "Tip it," she whispered again. "Tip it over." Once more the glass wobbled. She pushed harder still, willing her eyes to shoot out more power. And then, very, very slowly, so slowly she could hardly see it happening, the glass began to lean backwards, farther and farther and farther backwards, until it was balancing on just one edge of its base. And there it teetered for a few seconds before finally toppling over and falling with a sharp tinkle on the desktop. The water in it and the squirming newt splashed out all over Miss Trunchbull's enormous bosom. The headmistress let out a yell that must have rattled every window pane in the building, and for the second time in the last 5 minutes she shot out of her chair like a rocket. The newt clutched desperately at the cotton smock where it covered the great chest, and there it clung with its little claw-like feet. The Trunchbull looked down and saw it, and she bellowed even louder, and with a swipe of her hand she sent the creature flying across the classroom. It landed on the floor beside Lavender's desk, and very quickly she ducked down and picked it up and put it in her pencil box for another time. A newt, she decided, was a useful thing to have around. The Trunchbull, her face more like a boiled ham than ever, was standing before the class, quivering with fury. Her massive bosom was heaving in and out, and the splash of water down the front of it made a dark, wet patch that had probably soaked right through to her skin. "Who did it?" she roared. "Come on, own up, step forward. You won't escape this time. Who is responsible for this dirty job? Who pushed over this glass?" Nobody answered. The whole room remained silent as a tomb. "Matilda," she roared, "it was you. I know it was you." Matilda, in the second row, sat very still and said nothing. A strange feeling of serenity and confidence was sweeping over her, and all of a sudden she found that she was frightened by nobody in the world. With the power of her eyes alone, she had compelled a glass of water to tip and spill its contents over the horrible headmistress, and anybody who could do that could do anything. "Speak up, you clotted carbuncle," roared the Trunchbull. "Admit that you did it." Matilda looked right back into the flashing eyes of this infuriated female giant, and said with total calmness, "I have not moved away from my desk, Miss Trunchbull, since the lesson began. I can say no more." Suddenly the entire class seemed to rise up against the headmistress. "She didn't move," they cried out. "Matilda didn't move. Nobody moved. You must have knocked it over yourself." "I most certainly did not knock it over myself," roared the Trunchbull. "How dare you suggest a thing like that? Speak up, Miss Honey. You must have seen everything. Who knocked over my glass?" "None of the children did, Miss Trunchbull," Miss Honey answered. "I can vouch for it that nobody has moved from his or her desk all the time you've been here, except for Nigel, and he has not moved from his corner." Miss Trunchbull glared at Miss Honey. Miss Honey met her gaze without flinching. "I am telling you the truth, headmistress," she said. "You must have knocked it over without knowing it. That sort of thing is easy to do." "I am fed up with you useless bunch of midgets," roared the Trunchbull. "I refuse to waste any more of my precious time in here." And with that, she marched out of the classroom, slamming the door behind her. In the stunned silence that followed, Miss Honey walked up to the front of the class and stood behind her table. "Phew," she said. I think we've had enough school for one day, don't you? The class is dismissed. You may all go out into the playground and wait for your parents to come and take you home. And we'll stop there and start again tomorrow with the second miracle. And that was a good one. What was this one called? Oh, the first miracle. The first miracle. So tomorrow will be the second. Little Matilda. Alright, we have enough time left. Well, I have enough time left for a couple of poems. And then we'll say goodnight. And hopefully you'll be all sleepy and snuggled and ready for bed. I know I am. I know I am. Alright. Yeah, we're way past that. Where are we here? Ah, yes. Lazy Jane. Paper sound. The sound of flipping pages. Lazy Jane. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Lazy, lazy, lazy Jane. She wants a drink of water, so she waits and waits and waits and waits and waits for it to rain. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm like permanently have a glass of wax. Ah, the edge of the world. So we read Where the Sidewalk Ends, the title poem of the book. And there's the title illustration, which is wonderful. The edge of the world. Columbus said, the world is round. Don't you believe a word of that? For I've been down to the edge of the world, sat on the edge where the wild wind whirled, peeked over the ledge where the blue smoke curls, and I can tell you, boys and girls, the world is flat. Santa and the Reindeer. Santa and the Reindeer. This is the hour, said Santa Claus. The bells ring merrily. Then on his back he slung his pack, and into his sleigh climbed he. On Dancer, on Prancer, on Donner and Blitzen, on Comet, on Cupid, cried he. And all the reindeers leaped but one, and that one stood silently. He had pulled the sleigh for 1,000 years, and never a word spoke he. Now he stood on the snow, and he whispered low, "Oh, what do you have for me?" "I have games and toys for girls and boys," said Santa cheerily. The reindeer stood as if made of wood. "But what do you have for me?" The socks are hung, the bells are rung," cried Santa desperately. The reindeer winked at a falling star. "But what do you have for me?" Then Santa reached into his beard, and he found a tiny flea. And he put it on the reindeer's ear, and the reindeer said, "For me? Oh, gee." And into the blue away they flew, and away they flew with the flea. And the moral of this Yuletide tale, you know as well as me. And we'll do these last two from Boy, the Planet of Mars, and the toucan. The toucan. Tell me who can catch a toucan? Lou can. Just how few can ride a toucan? Two can. What kind of goo can stick you to the toucan? Glue can. Who can write some more about the toucan? You can. And the planet of Mars. On the planet of Mars, they have clothes just like ours. And they have the same shoes and the same laces. And they have the same charms and same graces. And they have the same heads and same faces. But not in the very same places. Interesting. Yeah, let's do one more. Love. Ricky was the L, but he's home with the flu. Lizzie, our O, had some homework to do. Mitchell, E, probably got lost on the way. So I'm all of love that could make it today. Oh. Sweet little poem. Oh yeah, we'll stop there. Oh, again, absolutely terrified me as a child. Okay, so we'll start with the dirtiest man in the world tomorrow. I apparently had that marked at one point for something. Not for the picture, I'll tell you that. Terrifying. Okay. Alright, my beautiful shining stars. I hope you enjoyed our time together tonight. I surely did. The video upload problem seems to... I thought it was fixed last night, and tonight they seem to be taking a little longer, so I'm gonna do a few things. Make sure we get those all uploaded for you. And I will let you know. Hopefully, you're nice and relaxed. And cozy, and comfy, and hopefully felt the words tickling up your back, your neck, up and down your arms, and hopefully you're so relaxed. Maybe you don't even hear me right now. Maybe you've already fallen asleep. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I wish you sweet and pleasant dreams, a solid night's sleep, and an absolutely wonderful Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.